Well, let's speak to Galip Dalay. He is the research director at Sharq Forum, an Istanbul think tank, and he joins me in the studio. Let's just go through this bit by bit to break it down for our international audience. Turkey has been fighting a civil war within its country for more than 30 years. What threat does the PKK pose, first of all?
Well, PKK pose a very significant threat, just like given the number itself gives the picture. Right now, according to official number, during this war, during this conflict, more than 40,000 people has lost their lives, and thousands of villages has been more or less eradicated from the map, and the number of wounded is unknown, probably like over hundreds of thousands. The economic, political, security cost is unmeasurable, so therefore, it is a very significant challenge in itself that Turkey faces from the PKK. So you cannot exaggerate the level of it, given the number of the death, economic tolls, and etc.
Now, the Tal Hamis Brigade, who exactly is this group?
Well, it is a small group. It's not like a very famous group. It's not like a quite well-known group among the Syrian opposition. It is concentrating more or less around the Haseke area, and it is more or less fighting with the Syrian regions, but at the same time with the YPG, the Syrian Kurdish group YPG. So therefore, it is more or less a very area-focused group, because the YPG has a significant presence around the Haseke, the Kamishli, etc., etc. The Kamishli is the so-called capital of the Syrian PYD that they have declared. And but Tal Hamis is not a very prominent Syrian opposition group to speak of. Probably this is one of their most spectacular attack thus far, if it is confirmed, because we yet to know that whether it's confirmed or not, because this is still a claim, yet it needs to be confirmed. But if it is confirmed and if it is true, then this will be one of their most spectacular attack to the present.
Now, as Yoro Abdavith, our correspondent in Mardin, was saying, this particular man, Fahman Huseyin, studied medicine at university, also nicknamed the Doctor, was sharing the leadership with two other commanders, obviously a very big job. How does his death, if it is confirmed, impact that organisation now? Well,
if it is confirmed, to my knowledge, he will be the most senior PKK leader killed. There has been previously defection, very senior PKK member defected from the PKK. One of them was the most prominent one, and them was the PKK leaders Abdullah Öcalan's brother, Osman Öcalan, and some other commander, Rıza Altun and Nizamettin Taş. They have defected previously from the PKK. And also, there has been some very capture of some very senior member of the PKK. Most prominent of them was the Şemdin Sakı, who was also a commander in field, was responsible for many deadly attacks. But being killed, no other PKK member of that caliber comes to my mind being killed by a bear group. So in this regard, it is a very significant setback. Though it is a very significant setback, it will be too much exaggerating to claim that it will cripple the PKK, given the fact that PKK thus far has survived many of that kind of defection or loss of the high-profile figures. Most important of them, the PKK's own leader, the founder, and the PKK's iconic leader, Abdullah Öcalan, is in prison in Turkey as well too. So therefore, it would be a significant blow. It would be a significant setback for the PKK, but nevertheless, it would not be crippling, as some might anticipate.
These are just reports coming through at the moment, no confirmation yet. Is it possible that perhaps this particular leader may well have become complacent in his security? His death, if it is true, was carried out by a relatively unknown group, the Tal Hamis Brigade. He was travelling in a car with 8 other people. His guards were also killed. They were clearly being tailed. So is it fair to say that perhaps there was a complacency with the way they were travelling around?
Well, it's, we still don't know all the details, and we still need to wait for the confirmation. But there might be some complacency. But let's not forget, during the Syrian civil war, we're talking about a civil war which has claimed the lives of the hundreds of thousands. And even despite the best security measures, you are still, you are still not very well protected, given the fact that the country around yourself, the city around yourself, is collapsing. Some very senior member of the regime itself has been killed during this process. Very senior member of the security apparatus in Syria has been killed. Mihraj Ural, which was also a citizen of Turkey but a notorious supporter of regime, was responsible for the death of many. He has been also killed recently as well too. So we are talking about a civil war, a context of a civil war in which it is, despite the best security measure, you are still exposed to the risk.
Galip, let's talk about reprisals, because often when one leader is killed, there are sometimes revenge attacks. Are we likely to see something like this happen? And do you think that Ankara perhaps would be wise to tighten its security around its police and military?
Well, irrespective of this attack, Ankara will be wise to tighten its security, given the fact that the Turkey and the PKK has been engaged in a war for quite a long time. And just yesterday, there was 2 military officials killed in Mardin, in the southern city of Mardin. So therefore, irrespective of this attack, the Ankara would be wise to tighten its security. But even if it is confirmed, right now, I don't expect a significant heightening of the attacks on Turkey just because of this singular attack, because this happened in Syria and it was committed by a Syrian group. If anything, you would expect a revenge attack on this Syrian, rather small Syrian opposition group. But I wouldn't expect that spectacular attack on Turkey just because of that. But irrespective of this, the PKK has been engaged in a war with Turkey. Therefore, you can expect a spectacular attack anytime.
Okay, Galip Dalay, thank you so much for coming in.